Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have another 3 stories for you today. The day the dishwasher exploded. You want your magazine? Fine, I'll deliver it right to your hand. And paying library late fee pennies at a time. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. The day the dishwasher exploded. On mobile, English is not my first language, so feel free to dunk on my grammar as much as you want. I was reading my daily quota of MC when I remembered a distant memory that might apply here. I was a young girl at the time, around 10 years old I believe. Being from a somewhat well-off family in Brazil, we used to have helpers around the house. On weekdays, a nice old lady would come in to clean the house and cook lunch for us. On the weekends, it was me and my sibling, 9 years my senior, who were tasked with cleaning up after lunch, and that meant loading up the dishwasher. My sibling is now a master dishwasher loader. They do an incredible game of Tetris with the dishes, and it somehow works. With that in mind, my mother decided it was a good idea to let a prepubescent me take a shot at the dishwasher. The first time, it didn't go well. I loaded the dishwasher as best as I could, but there were still a lot of dishes left. I, being a little kid, didn't understand the tricks of finessing cups on the plate holders and whatnot. My mother was a bit frustrated, considering she was used to my sibling's sorcery, and told me, and I quote, "Next time, you better fill the dishwasher up." Bad mistake. Cut to next weekend. I, being a smartass, loaded that dishwasher up as much as humanly possible. I remember stacking glass trays up on each other, jamming cutlery in the cutlery holder until it was akin to a solid block of metal, and I'm pretty sure I put multiple plates on each row. And then I put the soap in, closed that bad boy, and turned it on. I wouldn't say the dishwasher exploded, but the contents sure as hell did. I assume due to the hot water jets, some dishes, all made of glass, BTW, kept clanging against each other and broke, and the glass shards flew out, breaking other dishes. Hours later, while I was entertaining myself in the yard by trying to find worms in the dirt, I heard a scream from the kitchen. The dishwasher sat there, very much broken, with water and soap gushing out. There were glass shards everywhere. My mother stood there, staring at the dishwasher with what I assume was terror in her eyes. She turned to me. "What did you do?" I, the devil's spawn, knowing exactly what I did, said, "I filled it up, like you said." Next time, my sibling taught me how to load the dishwasher properly. After that, we bought a new dishwasher, and a new set of dishes. Kids are evil and refuse to understand nuance. The end. Our next story. You want your magazine? Fine, I'll deliver it right to your hand. Recently, I started getting complaints on the paper route I work on. I work a paper round for extra income since I'm not 16 yet, and legally in the UK, I cannot get a proper job. I've had it for 2 years. Lately though, about 2 months or so, I got a new house on the round, and they've been nothing but a pain. Not only is it out of the way of my round, so it's pretty much a hassle to get to, but they have to be very rude too. My boss has been forgetting to put magazines into the papers, and they've constantly been complaining, resulting in me getting reprimanded. That in itself isn't bad, but they've yelled at me for not closing their gate properly, getting too close to their ringing doorbell, and waving at their child from the window in the morning, all small things that led to this malicious compliance. However, they were still complaining about getting no magazine despite me making sure before I delivered that it went through, and I was getting tired. The next time I delivered their papers, I knocked. Bear in mind, I have to get these papers delivered quickly, so it was 6 a.m. at this point, but I knocked and knocked until the wife of the grumpy guy opened the door, half asleep and looking agitated. She coughs slightly, and in a typical Karen voice she goes, "What the hell do you want?" I look at her with fake stun as if I don't know what I'm doing and tell her, "I'm just delivering the magazine like you asked." At this moment, she knew she couldn't complain because 1. Her ringing doorbell caught it all, and 2. I had physically handed it to her this time, undeniable proof. For the next few weeks, I knocked until they answered the door, making sure to knock extra loudly. This morning, however, the husband answered the door, and he looked defeated. He flat out looked at me and apologized, in his words at least, "We get it, we're sorry about the complaints. Please stop knocking so early and just get the paper through the door." After that long round, nothing felt more satisfactory than the sweet taste of malicious compliance. I may be underpaid, but it was all worth it to see that face. Just a quick edit to clean up the paragraphs. I wrote in quite a rush, but thanks for all the nice comments. Please don't message me by being creepy. I won't reply. And our last story. Paying library late fee pennies at a time. Many years ago, when I was a student, I borrowed some books from the city library. In my country, it's free to borrow books, but if you return them late, you get a small fee, $1 too. Typically, you pay the fee the next time you want to borrow a book because you leave the books on the counter and the librarian checks them when they have time. Nowadays, it's automated with self-scanning and so forth. One day, I received an invoice by mail that I had a late fee of $1.50 and they added $5 for an administrative fee for the invoice. I called the library as I haven't set foot in there for over a year. And the accountant confirms and says it's a late fee for a book I returned late a year ago. I can't argue as I normally don't even remember what I had for dinner last night, so I asked about the $5 administrative fee. According to Swedish law, a claim for payment can be made up to 3 years after the event, and they could add a small administrative fee to the invoice. I told them that they had all of my info, phone, email, etc. If they had notified me that I had an outstanding balance, I would have come to the library and paid the fee. But the law is the law, and they are in the right. So much for malicious compliance. I log into my bank account and start dividing the invoice into small irregular payments. $0.23, $1.02, $0.76 and so on with a day between the payments. In addition, I paid 6 cents more than the invoice. I wait for all the payments to go through and then I call them back. Talk to the accountant that can't find my payment. I notified her that I had paid the invoice but may have divided it. The phone goes silent and then she says, with anger in her voice, "Was that you? Do you know how much work you caused us?" I replied that as long as they took out an administrative fee, I would get my money's worth of work for it. Then I end with that I may have paid more than the invoice and would like my $0.06 back. After numerous correspondences with their legal representative, they concluded that it would cost them too much to repay $0.06, so they couldn't legally be forced to pay. I thank her and end with that I have got my money's worth of work for $5.06. I haven't set foot in the library since, and it's been 21 years. Edit OK, I didn't know libraries were such a soft spot on Reddit. To clarify, in Sweden, libraries are run and financed by the municipality. HR, accounting, and the buildings are the municipality. They hire librarians that work in the libraries. When my call got transferred, it went from my local library to the accounting department in the municipality. I made their job harder, and I'm not defending my actions. I am only trying to explain my thoughts and emotions at the time, 21 years ago. I was reading this sub last night when I couldn't sleep, and it reminded me of this event. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.